I have seen these videos online about people claiming they are 30 years old or more and they have no friends. And these videos have a lot of views. And I suppose the reason could be that it seems there is a loneliness epidemic going on in the world. That's what I've heard. I have seen these videos and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna make a different video because I do have friends. I'm 30 years old, almost 31, and I have amazing friends. I don't have the closest of friends, sure, but the friends I have such an amazing time with them and I am so grateful for them. I haven't made new friends in almost a decade now, which is something I realized when I started to film this video and I started to think about this video. I did find and meet my amazing girlfriend a little bit over 1 year ago, so her effect on my life is obviously massive. It's massively positive. But when it comes to just friends, I haven't made new ones in a long time. So I suppose I should also think a little bit about should I make some new friends and how to make them. That is what we're gonna investigate in this video. How do you make friends? I met my first friend group. I met my first long-term friends in high school. The friends I had before that in childhood, I only have one of those still in contact with me closely. He's my closest male friend. But other than that, I made the biggest chunk of my friends in high school by complete accident. I was a total nerd, and those guys were total nerds. And we ended up hanging out between classes, between lessons, in the same room, in the same space. There was a space for people who were not nerds. It was a way more fancy space. And then there was this tiny little closet with a couch and a TV where all the nerds were hanging out. And I did do something myself. I did take some action that brought us all closer to each other, I believe. While we did become friends in that room by complete accident and chance, I was the one who invited the whole group to my parents' place when they were gone, when the family was gone and the house was empty. I invited them over, and that invitation started a tradition where I would then invite them over to my parents' lake cabin. And we have gathered like that ever since. How goddamn many years is that now? That's over 10 years. We even have a glass pint for drinking beer where we have printed 10 years and the names of each of us and the name of our friend group and stuff like that. So this is something we will keep doing until the day we die. I don't know, if I did not start that tradition, we would still meet each other, obviously, and all that, but now we have a clear tradition tracing back all the way to high school. There is something I did there, but other than that, it was completely random that I met them. And they're amazing. We're not super close in the sense that we mainly talk and see each other when we go to the cabin and we play board games and we drink and we go to sauna and stuff like this. And there we chit chat and we exchange information about how are we doing. But other than that, we don't see each other super often and stuff like that. So I wouldn't say we are, in a way, we are not very close, but at the same time, we are like brothers. We consider each other like brothers, even though we're not super close, if that makes any sense. It's like the bond is very strong, even though we don't talk that much. Now, in any case, on to the next one, on to the next important part of this video, which you might maybe draw some ideas and inspirations from what you might be able to do to make friends. So let's get into how to make friends and how I made friends later in my life. Once again, I was in university. So again, it's a school environment, which I suppose it's probably one of the biggest reasons why people should try to get to a school, to a university or something like that, is that it is a great chance to make friends. But I was a complete introvert. I never went out. I never went to parties. I did not drink. I was really antisocial. And in the school, in the university, during the classes, and the lessons. I had one friend who was a classmate, and I never saw that friend after the university. So we weren't really friends. We were just like buddies trying to get through the university together, but we didn't really bond. But here is the thing. At the end, towards the very end of my time in university, I made 4 friends. And that's a lot. Those 4 friends are good friends of mine now. Like really good friends. And here is how I was able to become friends with them. The first pair of friends is 2 guys. Those 2 guys were friends before I became friends with them. So it's 2 friends who are now also my friends. They went to study abroad. We were all studying game development, video game development. And those guys went abroad to a good university, to a great university in Netherlands. And I knew they were working hard. So meanwhile, I stayed in Finland because I was so boring and I didn't take on any adventures, so I didn't join them. And I worked with this group of people on a game project. And I felt like, damn, we are kind of stuck. We are stuck with the project management and the design and even making art and graphics. Like, we are not getting anywhere with this game, with this group. We need some fresh blood. And so I saw these guys, these two guys. I knew them because they were from the same class, but I had never really talked to them. I just knew they seemed like good, nice guys. So I saw them in the cafeteria of the university, and I knew, hey, these guys were in Netherlands. They were studying abroad. I bet they learned some really good lessons there. They must be really good now in project management and 3D graphics and stuff like that. So I sat into the table where they were. I saw them in the table and I sat there next to the guys and I started asking them, how was it? What did they do? And stuff like that. And I went straight to business. You know, I said like, hey, so we have this amazing game project. It's a really great idea, but we struggle a bit. Would you be interested in joining us? And I invited them to join the group that I was working on the game with in a bar outside of school. I don't know, I don't remember the details anymore, how many days later and stuff like that. But so that's what happened next. We went to the bar and sat down and had beer and talked to each other. And one of the guys decided, hey, yeah, I'm gonna join you guys. Sounds interesting. And the other one said, oh, sorry, but I already have this other project that I'm in. And okay, so I got one of them into the group with me and the other one not. But by doing those simple things, sitting into that table in the cafeteria to ask them about their trip and their experience, and then inviting them to the bar, just a couple of interactions like that, and that started our friendship. And we saw each other in the local town game industry gatherings. I think they were monthly. So we saw each other like every month in those game industry related gatherings. But just like that, you know, I approached those people with genuine interest in how they were, like how their experience in Netherlands was. And I approached them with intentions of, hey, I want to work on a project with you guys. And that's what got us into this friendship that is, you know, everlasting. And I'm gonna go see those guys this weekend in a Halloween party. And I'm super excited. So once again, yeah, there is luck there because I was in the university, sure. And because the same goes for the next pair of friends, which is a couple. I became friends with this couple from the same school, but not the same class. I went to another city completely to a game industry event, and I was in a bar in the after party. And I was alone there. And then I looked around and I saw, hey, that couple in that table is from the same school. I've never talked to them, ever. But they seem like nice people. I'm interested in these people. And I sat down into the table. I asked if I may join them. And I joined and I started to talk. And they knew me because I was working on a game project, a solo project myself. And I was tweeting about it on Twitter. And they saw me, they knew me. A lot of people knew me from the game project that I never finished, by the way, but I tweeted about it. So people in that town, they knew me. Everyone in the game industry in that town, they were like, yeah, you're the guy who's making that game, which makes me really shameful that I never finished. But I'll get more into that in the future. I'm going to finish that one day. In any case, I sat down with those two and I started to talk and chit chat. And then the next day, I saw them again in that game industry event. They still had some presentations there. So we sat next to each other in the auditorium and chit chat there. And I believe we exchanged Twitter handles, and then through the DMs. And through the Twitter DMs, we agreed to meet each other afterwards, days later in a cafe with those two people. And we just went to drink coffee and talk. And we had things in common, and we continued to talk. And now we are friends, and they're amazing. And my life is so much better. My life is so much more rich because I have these people in my life. We don't talk every day. We don't see each other. Look, these people that I mentioned, these 4 people from the game industry stuff, they live over 3 hours away from me. I left that city to live in the countryside, and still we don't see each other that often, but damn, I love those guys so much. And we have such a good time when we see each other. And it's like, when I think about people who don't have friends, it makes me emotional, to be honest. So this was my story. But what I hope someone might get from this story is that at the end of the day, I explained to my brother also the same thing. I remember telling my brother that the way I got into a relationship when I was a teenager and the way I got friends later in life was that I kind of just jumped into those people's lives. So if there's something you can get from this, I suppose it is that just if you're lonely, you need to find a place. Usually it's university, but if you're past university, you gotta figure out what could it be. You need to find a place where you can go to people and talk to them and genuinely just ask them. You see someone you think looks like a kind, nice person. You genuinely think, hey, that person is interesting. I wish I had that person in my life. And you approach them and you start a conversation and you get nothing to lose there. And you might just end up with amazing friends. One of the best things I would recommend for guys, especially, why not women as well, is go to some kind of martial arts. If you live in a city, it is highly likely that there's some kind of martial arts there. I took a short class of like 1.5 months before I moved to the countryside in a martial arts class. And while I didn't make new friends there because I wasn't interested, because I felt like I have all the friends I need, I felt like that would be such a great chance because you usually get a partner in the martial arts stuff that you spar with, you train with. And I have had this specific guy that I always sparred with. So I feel like if I asked that guy like, hey, do you want to hang out? He would have definitely said yeah, because we had really good energy together. So if you are really lonely and you feel like crap, I think you gotta change something in your life. I know it's easier said than done, obviously, but I think don't be afraid to try something new. Look at different hobbies and different classes and these different places where you can meet people. And then when you feel you match the energy with someone, you feel someone is interesting, you want to get to know them, just approach them and ask for their social media or something and ask if they want to hang out. Because it's so worth it. If you make a new friend like that, like I did in my 20s, 4 new friends, they will give me so much joy in this and so much to be grateful for in this life for years and years, for decades to come, that it is so worth it. Because I also have had a couple of experiences where I have approached someone who has seemed interesting and they did not care about me at all. The energy was a complete mismatch. I went to talk to this guy who was clearly hitting the gym, and I've always been interested in gym stuff, in training, and he was just looking at me like, he was talking with another guy about training, and I joined them like, hey, yeah, I heard you guys talk about training. This is how I train. And they're like, uh-huh. Like they were kind of like, we don't care, go away. And that hurt. But you know, you gotta approach people, and sometimes people, you sense the energy. You feel like, yeah, I don't. And another guy, actually, this is the last thing I'm gonna tell in this video. Someone invited me. I met in university this guy, and he invited me over to his place multiple times. And I always had excuses because I was going through some bad times in my life and I was super introverted. So I always had like this feeling like I don't want to go anywhere. So he asked me and I was like, maybe not, maybe not, maybe not. Then I finally went to his place and I wasn't drinking at the time. So I brought just one beer. And when I entered his house with his friends to play a board game, he looked at me and my beer like, oh, do you need more beer? The market is right there. And I was like, oh no, I'm fine. And I saw the look on his face like, it's crazy, dude. Like, I suppose it's good that I didn't try to be friends with him because just because I had only one beer and he was gonna get completely drunk, he looked at me like with such disappointment, dude. Like he was so disappointed. But it's an example where he wanted me to come over and he wanted to get to know me. He thought I am interesting and seemed like a nice guy, right? So he wanted to be a friend with me. But it was a mismatch on my part. So that can also happen. But anyway, I hope you get something out of this. If you are lonely, then I know it's easier said than done, but I don't know what else to say. That's how I got my friends. I went to a place where I was able to meet people and I approached them myself. All my friends. I've never been approached really by anyone and become friends that way. So just by waiting, nothing's gonna change. You gotta approach people yourself. And sometimes it's gonna be a failure and it's gonna hurt. But when it works, it's gonna be absolutely amazing and worth it. So that is it for today. I hope you got something out of this. Remember to subscribe to support the channel, and I want to grow this into something where I can make a difference with this advice and these stories of mine where I have found success in life to become more happy. That's at the end of the day, the point of this channel is to, I want to make a change in the world, even if it's a small one. I want to help people in some way that I can. In any way I can. That's like, I'm trying to find purpose in my life by trying to help people. And this is the best thing I can think of that I can personally do, to make these videos for you so that you can maybe hopefully learn. And comment below and have conversations with people in the comments. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.